you see that the Quran is anti-historical.
Now let's ask our friend Mr. No Logic here. If it happens that the Bible and a historical fact contradict each other, which one will you prefer? Is it the divine words of the Bible or the historical fact? Before you continue to watch this video, I want you to put this at the back of your head and always remember it. No man born of a woman can be able to debunk the truth, no matter how they try. And no man born of a woman can be able to prove a lie, no matter how they try. If it's your first time on our channel, please subscribe, turn on the notification button, and share the video. And may Allah make it a sadaqatul jariyah for you as long as people watch the video.
Even for example, the crucifixion. The crucifixion, the atheist scholars, not Christians, atheists and agnostic scholars say that it's a certain fact of history that Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate.
Yeah, but the Quran says that it was like something that looked like this. So
it was made to appear so. It was made to appear.
Yeah, it doesn't disprove it. We cannot use it to just.
Well, it does, because he's saying that it didn't actually happen.
No, it says that they were like someone who. It doesn't even explain more, but you understand.
Exactly. It's just conjecture.
Yeah.
So the Quran says that it was made to appear, but they didn't crucify him or kill him. It was only made to appear that they did so.
Yeah.
Right? It was made to appear so. So it's denying the crucifixion. While according to the historical evidence, it's a fact that Jesus was straight up crucified under Pontius Pilate.
If it appears like he was crucified, historian at this time could have written like Jesus had been crucified, but hasn't been. Like if it was a chance, like the Quran says, it's not a problem with history at this point.
Well, it is. Yes. It is a problem with history because it's saying it didn't happen. History says it did.
If God can make appear like someone to be like Jesus, it's possible because God can do everything, bro.
So let me get this straight. So Allah tricked the entire world into thinking that Jesus was crucified?
Basically, yes, bro. It's what the Quran says.
And you're okay with believing that Allah is a huge deceiver like that?
So this is exactly what happened. Before Jesus was supposed to be crucified, he came to his disciples, 12 of them, and then he asked them, who amongst you will take my place that is in the cross? And I will be the same with him like this in paradise, in the hereafter. The youngest amongst his disciples stood up and said, I will take your place. He asked him to sit down. And he asked the same question again. And the same young man stood up and said, I want to take your place. And then Jesus said, okay, you will. And he told his disciples the famous story. Some of you will deny me 12 times before daybreak. Then as they were there, he was taken up body and soul to heaven. Then the Jews came looking for him. Meanwhile, he had given his resemblance to the young man. And they took the young man and crucified him. It is very clear here that all the disciples knew what happened. They knew that the person crucified that day was not Jesus. But the Bible version of it says, during the most critical time in the life of Christ, all his disciples forsook him and fled. That may be the reason why the Quran concludes that وَإِنَّ الَّذِينَ اخْتَلَفُوا فِيهِ لَفِي شَكٍّ مِّنْهُ. And the people that have different opinions as to the crucifixion of Jesus are in doubt about it. Maybe it happened. Perhaps it really happened. Maybe it did not happen. All of them were in doubt. So it was very clear to the disciples what happened to Jesus. As to the people who were in doubt about it, they are the ones that all the Christians believe today. As for the disciples who knew exactly what happened to Jesus, they were quickly silenced within the first 3 centuries after the ascension of Jesus Christ to heaven.
So look at this. This is chapter 61, verse 14. It says, O you who have believed, be supporters of Allah, as when Jesus, the son of Mary, said to the disciples, who are my supporters for Allah? The disciples said, we are supporters of Allah. Now, before I continue reading, what do you think it means to be supporters of Allah, to help Allah?
Being okay with what is written in the Quran.
But his disciples, this is before the Quran is here. When Jesus asked
the same idea, I mean.
Huh?
The same idea, I mean.
Well, specifically, look, it says, Jesus said to his disciples, who are my supporters for Allah? What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't understand the sentence, to be honest.
It means that they're going to help Jesus spread the message. They're going to help him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
What was their message? What was the message of the disciples? Was it that he got crucified and we saw him rise again? Is that the message that is dominant? Or was the dominant message that Jesus was not crucified? It never happened. Allah only made it appear so. What message is dominant?
Allah only met the Muslims who believed in Jesus during the time of Jesus. The few of his disciples who maintained his teachings and believed in him as a prophet of God during his time and after his time, and then he made them triumph above their enemies during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they believed in Prophet Muhammad as was instructed by Jesus Christ. This is what happened. When Jesus Christ ascended to heaven, he left disciples. And as we said earlier, he told them that some of them would disbelieve in him. They did disbelieve in him. And the rest that believed in him got divided into 3 different sects. One of them was the Jacobite Orthodox, who said God came down from heaven, lived with us for as long as he wanted, and went back to heaven, meaning Jesus. They considered Jesus as God. Another group amongst them, which is the Nestorianism, they believed that the Son of God came down to us on earth, lived with us for as long as God wanted, and then went back to heaven. Then the last sect, which is the Muslims, they believed that the servant and the messenger of God, Jesus Christ, the son of Mary, lived with us for as long as God wanted, and then God took him to heaven, body and soul. Then God saw it that the other 2 groups that believed in Jesus wrongly got triumphant over the minor group which believed that Jesus was a servant and a messenger of God. In their first early centuries, all of them went under persecution. Anybody called Christian was under persecution until a Roman emperor came and stopped the persecution. And even after he stopped the persecution, he promoted those that believed that Jesus was either a God or a son of God, to the detriment of those that believed that Jesus Christ was a servant of God and a messenger from God. And they stayed marginalized and under the domination of those who had the opposite belief until Allah sent the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they believed in the Prophet Muhammad, and Allah gave them victory over their enemies through the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when the ayah says that Allah helped them and make them to dominate over their enemies, it is not those who believed that Jesus Christ was either Son of God or God. It is rather the minority that believed that Jesus Christ was nothing but a servant and a messenger of God. So he may also argue that since during that time the Jacobite orthodoxy and the Nestorianism excelled and dominated, therefore they were the right group. Then we will ask him, why didn't they dominate before the Council of Nicaea, before the 4th century? All of them were trapped between the Jews and the Romans. And the believers who believed in Jesus as a messenger and a servant of God, their triumph and their domination of the earth over their enemies was felt immediately as the Prophet ﷺ was sent by Allah to mankind, and the Muslims dominated the entire world. Then he may also ask, what happened now that the Christians are the ones dominating? It is just because the Muslims lost it. They lost their faith. They lost the faith, the exemplary faith of their predecessors. That is why they were dominated by their enemies. And that has always been in the history of mankind. Whenever Allah uplifted a nation or a people because of their faith in Him, and whenever they lose the faith, Allah will bring them down and put their enemy on top of them until they regain their faith and go back to their Lord. Then Allah will help them over their enemies once more. Now to my Muslim brothers who feel like it's very normal to go to these people's platform and try to debate them I'll advise you, please, if you don't have the necessary support, knowledge-wise, don't go to them and debate them. They are people who, even if they are shown the truth, they will never believe. And they can go to any length to make sure that they twist the truth so that you believe in their own narratives. So take care of your faith and stay away from people like this. Please do not go away without subscribing. Turn on the notification button and share the video. May Allah bless you as you do so. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.